All right, so get this. We're diving deep into brain training today. You sent us this program by Lawrence Biscontini,
Oh, yeah.
and I gotta say, I am so intrigued by this one little detail.
Okay, what's that?
He uses the greeting namaste
Mm-hmm.
and explains it as my inner peace meets greets and salutes your inner light.
Wow.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like, are
Yeah.
we about to unlock some serious brain power and inner peace all at once?
It does kind of set the
Right?
stage for like a really holistic
Yeah,
approach, you
for
know?
sure, for sure.
And then he jumps right into this visual breakdown of the brain
Oh, yeah.
and, just reminding us that it's not just like one big blob up there.
Yeah.
Different areas have totally different jobs.
Right. Like, I feel like we've all heard of, like, the frontal lobe, but,
Mhm.
like, do we actually know what it does?
Yeah.
Scatini lays it all out, and it's actually way more interesting than I thought it'd be.
It's like he's giving us a map to our own minds, right?
Totally, totally.
And then he takes it even further with this concept of brain lateralization. That whole left brain versus right brain thing.
The classic.
Yeah, but he goes beyond just those basic stereotypes that we've all heard.
Yeah, like left brain is logical, right brain is creative. Like,
Right?
that always felt a little too simple to me.
It is. It is. What's fascinating, though, is, well, there's some truth to, the two hemispheres specializing.
Mm-hmm.
They're constantly working together.
Yeah,
It's not a competition. It's like a collaboration.
right.
So, for example, the left brain might handle, like, the mechanics of language.
Oh,
But the right brain is helping us understand, like, the nuances, the emotions behind the words.
oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah,
So it's not that one side is better.
exactly.
It's about using both.
The full potential
Yeah.
of both sides.
Okay, so then for brain training, I guess that means we need to be working out both sides of our brain.
Absolutely. It's like cross-training for your brain.
I love that. I love that.
And he highlights several factors that we can actually control to boost brain function sleep,
Okay.
stress management, even our diet.
Okay, so I'm already guilty of not getting enough sleep.
We'll join the club.
But I was really surprised by how much he emphasized stress
Right.
affecting the brain.
He points out that cortisol, that's stress hormone,
Mm-hmm.
it's basically toxic to brain cells.
What?
And it makes sense when you think about it. When you're super stressed,
Yeah.
it's hard to think clearly.
Oh, totally. I feel like I'm in a mental fog when I'm stressed.
Right.
So you're saying getting enough rest actually helps our brain repair itself.
Exactly. It's during sleep that our brains clear out waste products and consolidate memories.
Oh, wow.
He even mentions that, like, a quick nap
Mm.
can significantly improve your cognitive performance.
Really?
It's like hitting the reset button for your brain.
Okay, I'm adding nap time to my brain training schedule officially.
I like it.
But what about the stuff we eat?
Uh,
Does that really impact our brain power?
More than you might think. He highlights the importance of antioxidants,
Mm-hmm.
which protect our brain cells from damage,
Mm-hmm.
and choline, which is crucial for memory and learning.
Okay.
But here's a fun fact.
Okay.
He actually says that glucose can boost memory.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah.
So that piece of dark chocolate I had earlier was like brain food?
No, well, let's not go overboard on the sugar.
Okay, fine.
But yeah, glucose provides the energy our brain needs to function optimally.
Right. Moderation. Moderation.
Yeah, yes.
But tell me more about memory, because he really gets into the nitty-gritty there.
Yeah.
What stood out to you?
He has this whole section on the limitations of short-term memory
Okay.
and how we often sabotage ourselves by trying to cram in too much information at once.
Well, for sure.
He highlights this concept of the magic number 7,
Oh, yeah.
which refers to like the average number of items we can hold in our short-term memory at any given time.
Oh, that's probably why I'm so bad with names when I meet a bunch of people at once. It's too much information.
Exactly. And that's where his approach gets really interesting.
Okay.
He argues that instead of trying to brute force memorization,
Mm-hmm.
we should focus on like creating meaningful connections and weaving information into narratives.
Wait, so you're saying stories are better for memory than, like, lists?
Yes.
Why is that?
Our brains are wired to remember stories.
Really?
Think about it. You can probably recall the plot of a movie you saw years ago,
Uh-huh.
but good luck remembering a random list of facts from that same movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Stories engage our emotions, our imaginations,
Mm-hmm.
and they create a framework that makes information easier to recall.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm a huge movie buff, so that tracks for me.
Yeah,
So is that why he suggests using stories as a memory technique?
exactly. He encourages us to take information we want to remember and weave it into a story.
Okay.
Even if it's a silly or outlandish one,
Mm-hmm.
our brains will latch on to those narrative details, and make the information stick.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's like hacking our brain's natural wiring to
Well,
improve our memories.
yeah.
But I'm curious about the practical side of things, too.
Right.
What kind of specific exercises does he recommend to actually train our brains?
He has a whole arsenal of them, and they're surprisingly fun and engaging.
Oh, good.
He talks about things like recalling objects from a box, visualizing folded paper,
Oh,
and
cool.
even analyzing facial expressions to improve emotional intelligence.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Let's dive into some of those exercises. I'm
Okay.
especially curious about that object recall thing.
Yeah.
What's the thinking behind that one?
So it's all about challenging your short-term memory and attention to detail.
Mm-hmm.
So you basically gather a bunch of random objects,
Yeah.
you study them for a bit,
Okay.
and then you try to recall as many as you can.
Okay.
It sounds simple, but it's a great way to just flex those memory muscles.
And I bet you can make it harder, like by adding more objects or
Right.
like setting a time limit.
Exactly. You can gradually increase the difficulty as you improve. But the real key is to pay attention to the details of each object, its shape, its color, its texture.
Yeah.
That's what helps encode the information in your memory.
So it's not just about like rote memorization.
Right.
It's about like engaging with the information on a deeper level.
Precisely. And that's a theme that runs throughout his whole program.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
not just about cramming information into your head.
Right.
It's about developing a deeper understanding and appreciation for how your brain works.
I like that.
Yeah.
So object recall, I get it. That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But what about some of these other exercises?
Yeah.
Like he mentions one involving folding paper,
Yes.
which sounds kind of abstract for brain training.
It's the spatial reasoning one.
Oh, okay.
It's actually really cool.
Okay.
You imagine a piece of paper being folded multiple times,
Okay.
and then you have to visualize where holes punched through the folded paper would end up
Oh.
once it's unfolded.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's really tricky. It is. I can already feel my brain working just thinking about it.
Right. It really forces you to think three-dimensionally and manipulate images in your mind.
Okay.
And spatial reasoning skills are surprisingly important in everyday life.
That,
You know,
oh, yeah.
from navigating a new city to packing a suitcase efficiently.
Okay, so it's not just about becoming like a master origami artist.
No, definitely not, although that wouldn't hurt.
That's true. That's true.
But it's about building those mental pathways that allow you to think spatially and solve problems in a more creative way.
Yeah, I'm realizing that brain training is about so much more than just memory.
Yes,
It really is like a whole brain workout.
absolutely.
And speaking of whole brain,
Yes.
he doesn't neglect the importance of emotional intelligence.
No, he doesn't.
He has this exercise where you study photographs of people's faces and try to identify their emotions based on their expressions.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because like we do that all the time in real life. We
Yeah.
just don't think about it consciously.
Right, it's like putting those social skills under a microscope.
Totally.
And by practicing this exercise, you start to pick up on those subtle nonverbal cues
Mm-hmm.
that we often miss.
Yeah.
It can really enhance your ability to understand and empathize with others.
So it's not just about being like, quote unquote, smart.
Right.
It's about being more in tune with like ourselves and the people around us.
Exactly. And that's what makes his approach so unique.
Okay.
It combines traditional cognitive exercises
Yeah.
with techniques that target emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and even stress management.
It really is a holistic approach, like we were saying before.
It is.
But let's get back to those exercises for a minute.
Okay.
Are there any others that like really stood out to you?
He has one that's specifically designed to boost problem-solving skills.
Okay.
It's a classic survival scenario.
Right.
Imagine you're stranded on a deserted island with only a handful of items.
Oh.
Your challenge is to figure out how to use those items to survive and eventually escape.
Oh, that's a good one. And it's like those escape room games
It is.
that are so popular now.
Right. It forces you to think outside the box.
Yeah.
To be resourceful and creative with limited resources.
Mm,
And those are essential skills in any situation,
right.
not just on a deserted island.
So it's about training your brain to like adapt and overcome challenges.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about building that mental agility and resilience that allows you to thrive in any situation.
So all of this sounds amazing,
Yeah.
but how much time do I need to devote to these exercises to actually see results?
That's a great question. And he actually addresses that directly.
Okay, good.
He emphasizes that consistency is key,
Mhm.
but you don't need to spend hours a day on brain training.
Okay, good.
Even just a few minutes each day can make a difference.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
I was starting to feel overwhelmed already.
Well,
But what's the best way to approach it?
Yeah.
Should I do a different exercise every day or like focus on one for a while?
He recommends kind of a balanced approach,
Mm.
a little bit like cross-training for your body.
Okay.
Try mixing it up, do some memory exercises one day, some spatial reasoning the next,
Mm.
and throw in some emotional intelligence training for good measure.
So it's about finding a routine that works for you
Exactly.
and keeps things interesting.
Keeps it fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what about the things we can't change about our brains?
Yeah,
Like I've heard our genetics play a role in our cognitive abilities.
that's true. Our genes do lay the foundation,
Yeah.
but he's a firm believer in neuroplasticity,
Okay.
which is the brain's remarkable ability to change and adapt throughout life.
So even if you weren't like born with a super brain,
Right.
you can still improve it.
You can significantly improve your cognitive function through training and lifestyle choices.
So it's kind of like saying, okay, this is my starting point,
Right.
but I have the power to shape it from here.
Exactly. And that's incredibly empowering.
Yeah.
It means we're not stuck with the brain we were born with.
Right.
We can actively sculpt it, strengthen it, and make it more resilient.
That's amazing. It's like having a mental gym membership.
I like that.
But I know he also emphasizes that brain training isn't just about exercises.
Right.
It talks a lot about diet and supplements, too.
He does, and that's where those antioxidants and choline we mentioned earlier come in.
Okay.
He's a big advocate for a brain-healthy diet, rich in fruits, vegetables, healthy fats, and lean protein.
Mm-hmm.
And he mentioned some specific supplements that can support brain function,
Okay.
like omega-3 fatty acids and B vitamins.
So it's really a multi-pronged approach.
Yes,
Exercises, diet, and maybe some targeted supplementation.
exactly. It's about creating an environment where your brain can thrive.
Mm-hmm.
And he stresses that even small changes can have a big impact.
Oh, okay.
Like even just swapping out sugary drinks for water can make a difference in your cognitive function.
It's all about those little wins adding up
I'm with you.
over time.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, I want to touch on one more thing that he mentions.
Okay.
The importance of mindset.
Yes. He's a big believer in the power of positive thinking and self-belief.
Okay.
He argues that if you approach brain training with a negative attitude, thinking, I'm too old for this or I'm not smart enough,
Mm-hmm.
you're actually setting yourself up for failure.
So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
If you believe you can improve, you're more likely to actually make progress.
Exactly. And that's where that namaste greeting comes full circle.
Oh, yeah.
It's about cultivating that inner peace and self-acceptance
Mm-hmm.
that allows you to embrace the challenge of brain training with a positive and open mind.
I love that it's not just about training your brain. It's about training your mind to believe in your brain's potential.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that you have the power to shape your own cognitive destiny.
Wow. This feels like we've only just scratched the surface of
Yeah.
this whole brain training thing.
There's so much to it.
There's so much to explore, and I know Viscontini gives us a bunch of resources for further learning.
He does.
Right, a lot.
Like a lot.
Yeah. So he mentions websites like brainage.com
Right.
and mensa.org for brain games and challenges.
Yeah, those are good ones.
Yeah, and he even suggests checking out the Harvard Implicit Association test,
Oh, yeah. That's a fascinating one.
which can reveal like unconscious biases that we might not even be aware of.
Yeah, it's really eye-opening.
Wow. Okay, I'm putting that on my to-do list.
Yeah, it's worth checking out.
But before we all get lost in a rabbit hole of brain-boosting websites,
Right.
what's like the one key takeaway you want our listener to walk away with today?
I think the most important message is that brain training is an ongoing journey. It's not a destination.
Yeah,
It's about embracing a lifestyle that supports cognitive health,
right.
from the exercises we do, to the foods we eat, to the way we manage stress.
And it's about believing in our brain's ability to change and grow, no matter our age or starting point.
It's never too late to start investing in your brain health.
So to wrap things up, I think a good challenge for our listener would be to pick one small thing they can incorporate into their daily routine starting today.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Like it could be as simple as trying one of Biscontini's memory exercises, taking a 5-minute meditation break, or even just swapping out that afternoon soda
Yeah,
for a glass of water.
love it. It's small changes can lead to big results over time.
Exactly. And remember, brain training should be enjoyable.
Yes. Find activities that challenge you and spark your curiosity.
It's not about like forcing yourself to do something you hate.
Right.
It's about exploring the amazing potential of your brain and having fun along the way.
Exactly. And if you ever feel stuck or discouraged, just remember that namaste greeting.
Oh, yeah.
It's a reminder that we all have that inner light, that potential for growth and transformation.
Beautifully said. Well, on that note, we'll leave you to explore your own brain power.
Yes.
And remember, you can find links to all the resources we mentioned in the show notes.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Keep those brains sharp.
Keep those minds open.
Until next time, happy brain training.